Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about stats, specifically one of the few RPG-like stats left in the game: resilience, recovery, and mobility. And more specifically, why recovery seems to be so dominant as a stat. Now, this wasn't a secret of gaming back in Destiny 1. It was pretty widely known that recovery was a good stat, and that the other two, armor and agility, aka resilience and mobility, were not as vital to your Destiny experience. I'm just going to call them by their Destiny 2 terms. Resilience in Destiny 1 was really only felt in PvP, where certain combinations of hits from certain guns could leave you with a tiny sliver of health instead of actually killing you. This was a massive benefit because it gave you more time to fight back. But sometimes it just didn't matter at all. In Destiny 2, there are times where this resilience stacking also matters in the same way. As an example, sometimes I 4-shot headshot kill people with the End, the scout rifle. 48 to the head is 192 total damage, and at low resilience values, that's a kill, and other times it's not. Mobility benefits were usually, and still are, confined to walking speed and initial jump height. And in a game where you're mostly sprinting and using extra jumps to boost you, combined with the new ability to mantle onto ledges, well, you can see why hunters are a bit pissed off about mobility being their main stat. So what's the difference now? Well, in the description of this video is another video that goes over what each stat actually does, done by Fallout, another Destiny YouTuber, but generally speaking, things haven't changed too much since Destiny 1. Most stats perform about the same. However, one thing that feels like it has changed is recovery, despite the fact that overall, it is pretty similar. But the thing about recovery is the differences between low and high recovery rates are very significant. Not only is it significant, but it is actually noticeable in moment-to-moment gameplay. Resilience in PvE is very difficult to notice. Stacking it high doesn't make me feel like I'm a tank, and I only notice I'm running low mobility when I first start up a raid and you have to run down that super long path. Are there times where running extra mobility or resilience would have allowed me to escape a bad situation or survive with a tiny bit of health in PvE? I'm sure there are, but that never feels noticeable or as noticeable as recovery. In short, recovery seems strong not only because it is, but because you can feel it in your gameplay. Resilience and mobility feel like they make zero impact on my gameplay experience, even if they do, which makes them feel unimportant. This is part of the reason why hunters are griping about their performance in the game in general. It's difficult for them to get high recovery, which is arguably a huge aspect of PvP and PvE, but sure, they have other issues as well. Unfortunately, this issue is not very easily solved because of the way the game is balanced. It's balanced as a shooter and not an RPG, and yet again, PvP likely gets in the way of balancing these stats in a way that would make them fun or at the least noticeable unless PvE and PvP balance was done separately. I'd be willing to accept a bit of a recovery hit if I felt like I was a literal tank with high resilience as a Titan, being able to take extra damage. I'd be willing to accept a recovery hit if I felt like a speed demon hunter. But then again, I don't know if speed makes you a more effective fighter in PvE. I guess maybe strafing back and forth lets you dodge enemy fire a little bit better. However, giving 250 health for a 10 resilience stack build would probably imbalance PvP to a significant degree. Again, I'm not going to pretend that this wasn't a Destiny 1 issue as well, because it was. So, should Bungie just design stuff so that everyone has access to a ton of recovery all the time? I guess in the meantime, that would be an okay band-aid fix, but it doesn't really get to the root of the problem of other stats not feeling like they matter, even if they actually do. At that point, if everyone just wants high recovery all the time and who cares about the other stats, why even bother having them at all? They need to be made more impactful on moment-to-moment gameplay experiences if I am to care about resilience or mobility at all. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.